And now live from the Snackboy studios in Laurel, Maryland, it's snack time.
Oh, hello. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Snackboy. Yesterday, if you remember, we were watching a little retribution revenge show about this bitch I used to work with named, that's right, Michelle. Michelle the bitch. The evil bitch Michelle. You may say to yourself, Snackboy, come on, we've watched at least 14 or 15 episodes now, and it's not like you to be so negative. Not like you to talk badly about someone well. She was evil bitch, bad person. And you say to yourself, but Terry, yesterday all she did was listen in on your phone calls, and read to you from annoying medieval books. Well, there's more. That's right, there's more, and that's why for today, for the first time ever, I, Terry, am going to do a sequel. That's right, I could not cram enough retribution, enough revenge, enough emotion into the last 5 minutes. I was cut off before I got it out. I have to vent. People, for 9 months, I was stuck in a tiny, narrow cube with an evil bitch. Let's go on. Let's just get into it. Let's throw ourselves in. Well, if you remember correctly, the last thing she did was she would be sitting there and she'd read this horrible series of medieval books that were so poorly written and crack up, and she'd make me listen. She'd be like, let me read to you part of it. And she would just read in my ear, and it was always shit like this. Well, the Grand Sorcerer said, if I came upon a stream and found such a young buck upstart, I would never think to give him shield or armor. Oh, nay, said the saucy sorcerer, don't make me take away your magic points, sir. Guff on to the nearest village until you can cast upon your nearest shoulder some magic. Well, said you, to the fiery lad. Oh, and she would just go on and on and on. Anyway, this is how bad it was. She would come in, and she would decide that if I wasn't going to give her attention, she'd have to tell me about her husband and her sex life. That's right, she would share intimate details. For example, one day we were all taking an office quiz. We were bored. It was Le Marriott. We had nothing to do. And one of the questions asked of Michelle was, do you give, head? And she was, too happy to answer. She would say, oh, yes. My husband just loves his kisses. That's right. She referred to fellatio, the act of blowjobs, as kisses. She'd say, my husband just loves his kisses. And I love giving him kisses. And then she would share about how one day she came home and decided her husband deserved a naked telegram. So she's like, one day I came home from work and my husband was home early, so I took off all my clothes in the hallway, and he answered the door. And I was like, did someone call in a naked telegram? Anyway, and you'd always catch her in a lie. You'd be like, Michelle, wait a minute. I thought you lived in an apartment building. How did your neighbors not know? And she'd be like, well, it was the middle of the day and no one was home, so I gave him this naked telegram. And you're like, Michelle, but I thought you lived on like the 4th floor. No one saw you take off all your clothes. Didn't you have windows? And she was like, well, no, we didn't have windows. It was one of those buildings that didn't have many windows. Anyway, this is how bad it got. The coworkers, other than me, hated her so much that one day I came back to our cubicle, and you have to remember, people, it was a tiny cubicle. For 9 months, I was stuck with this girl, and she was not a little girl in this cubicle, and she would eat the same thing every day. Remember, she would have the curly fries. She would have the Utz, barbecue potato chips. She would have the large soda and the grilled chicken sandwich, mother and cheese. And every day, she would finish almost all of her Utz, and about 9/10 through the bag, she'd put them in the cabinet and leave for the day at 4. Anyway, one day she left, and the coworkers hated her so much, they're like, where is she, man? Where's her food? Where are those Utz barbecue potato chips, man? Where are they? And I was like, they're in the cabinet. What are you going to do to them? And they got him out, and they were like, and that's right, they spit in her chips. They were locking loogies in her chips. And these are married men with families. These are good family folk, people. And even they could not stand the evil that was Michelle. And then she started hitting on our boss. His name was Jeff. And Jeff had this beautiful girlfriend, and he had no interest in Michelle, and she was married, and she was 200 and some odd pounds. And I remember she would give him massages, and I could hear him over the cube wall, and she'd be giving him massages, and she'd be like, "You look tired. Let me give you a massage." Like, "Michelle, I'm busy. What are you doing?" And she's like, "You look like you need a good massage." And she'd like rub on his shoulders, and he'd be like, "Michelle, please, I need to get back to work." And she's like, "Jeff, I'm just gonna give you a little rubby." And she would just ooze on him. Oh, every day it got worse and worse and worse. Let me think. Oh, and she was also a cheerleading captain. That's right. Ooh.